This is your second crack at this one. So
Yes.
it originally came out in 2000. So why, we're not a country that changes very fast.
Well,
like 7 years to me is just like it's a blink,
One could think of it as a blink, if you look at the slow evolution of Canadian society over 200 years. But, a lot has happened in Canada since the publication of this book, first at the millennium. September 11, all of the fallout from the terrorist attacks on New York and the Pentagon, and how that influenced Canada's relationship with America, how that has colored or shaped or changed our ideas about multiculturalism. And also in this book, we've added a series of essays about the Aboriginal question in Canada. And I think as we're seeing Aboriginal communities increasingly frustrated with the slow pace of land claims, negotiations, that old perennial issue is coming back in a new way in 2007, in a way, let's say, that it wasn't there, maybe with as much poignancy or urgency when this book was first published.
Let me quote something from your introduction. Great Questions of Canada is a reminder of what has long made Canada work, our collective ability to fashion a new vision of the country through generous dialogue about ideas.
Yeah. I guess I've always been interested in this tension in Canada between how we see ourselves as a nation. I think, as I wrote in the introduction, there's a temptation in Canada to see this country as an evolution of institutions, the creation of the CPR, the Royal Mounted Canadian Police. I mean, you can go through all of the institutions in our history, Medicare, peacekeeping, and as Canadians, we've invested in those institutions our identity. We see them as a reflection of who we are as a people. I think at times, though, we've lost sight of the degree to which ideas have shaped Canada. The way that there are ideas at the country's founding about the purposes of this nation, the way that there are ideas in a post-9/11 world that are transforming how we think about Canada. So we wanted to say, yes, institutions are important, but let's try to reconnect with some of these great debates that we've had in Canada about the ideas that are shaping this country.
I had a very Canadian reaction to the book. It's like, I read through this first essay and then sort of a rebuttal essay, and I was fine with that. And then there's a postscript, and I went, uh-oh. Mom and Dad are starting to argue. It started to feel uncomfortable because there was a debate going on, and it's we like peace, order, and good government, and this is making noise.
Yeah,
I'm Canadian.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some sharp exchanges here. A great one between Jack Granatstein, the author of Who Killed Canadian History, and Michael Ignatieff, the now deputy leader of the Liberal Party, about Canadian history. It doesn't matter. A great exchange, and I think similarly between Haroon Siddiqui of the Toronto Star, a real proponent of multiculturalism, and George Jonas, a deep kind of skeptic of the multiculturalism project. A sharp debate, a real clash of ideas, and I think that's part of what we're trying to say with this book is that through debate, better ideas will emerge. If too often in this country, I think we take the edges off our public discourse. And as a result of doing that, maybe we don't have that kind of Darwinian hothouse, maybe, that you see in the United States, the United Kingdom, where people live and die often on public debate and on the ideas that shape those two countries. I think maybe a little more assertiveness on the part of Canadians and a part of our national discourse. Let's keep those elbows up and hope the best idea wins.
Why the postscript? Why let them have the little rebuttal exchange?
Yeah. Well, I think that was important. I think that we really did want to think back to that spirit of debate when this country was created in 1867 at Confederation. The image, again, as I write in the introduction, the image often of Confederation is that it was a legal horse trade, that it was a bunch of men in suits in rooms with big windows, basically filling their names in on a contract. In fact, Confederation was really a hard-fought debate about the future of this country and what it should look like. But it was a debate where there was give and take. And I think what we wanted to say is, let's not just have these authors write their piece and then say goodbye. Let's have them come back, look at each other's essays, make a second argument, and push the debate that little bit further.
Rather than the sort of American where everything is very polarized and you get more extreme as the debate goes on, everybody by the end of the postscript, they was like, well, I see what his point is, and I think we're arguing actually the same. You know, it was kind of looking for that Canadian middle ground.
Yeah. And look, I think the purpose of this book is not to emulate Fox News and have two shouting heads, one on each page, yelling at the reader. I think the idea is to say, yes, there are different ways of looking at some very basic questions about this country, its political formation, its institutions, challenges such as multiculturalism, or how to accommodate Canada's Aboriginal people. But understand at the end of the day that this is a country of only 30 million people in a vast and increasingly competitive world, and we need to come together to figure out some solutions to these problems. And I think there's a spirit, a generosity of the conversation, of the debate in this book, which makes me optimistic about the prospects for conciliation, the degree to which we can bridge some of these gulfs, some of these divides, and come up with a new set of ideas to take this country forward.
The book is Great Questions of Canada. This is the revised edition, a project of the Dominion Institute. I've been speaking with the editor, Rudyard Griffiths, and Great Questions of Canada, published by Key Porter Books.